awesome.
You are about to meet believe that they've captured real ghosts on tape. Some of these images are strange, some are disturbing, others are shocking, but none can be authenticated. Are they real? You decide. Do you believe in ghosts? Tonight, witness the most shocking footage of what many claim are the world's scariest ghosts caught on tape.
I went in the house, and the kitchen cupboards were opening and closing on their own, and the dishes were flying out of the cupboard. I mean, literally, as if somebody had taken a frisbee and were flinging them from the cupboard.
I'd be sitting there watching television, and the channels would just start flipping faster and faster.
I turned to my husband and I said, honey, I know you're gonna think I'm completely crazy, but I feel there's an evil spirit here in the house.
This bungalow in the sleepy harbor town of San Pedro, California, is the site of one of the most bizarre poltergeist encounters ever recorded. A woman who we'll call Jackie and her 2 infant children have been living with what she believes is an evil presence. Then one day her fears become reality. As cameraman Barry Conrad shoots this video, a strange red liquid of unknown origin begins oozing from the house.
It was coming out of everywhere. It was just dripping out of the walls.
Everyone just left except us. Things are starting to drip out of the cabinets. Nobody believes us, but it's happening.
There it is.
There it is, right there. It's dripping.
Unbelievable.
A few days later, life in Jackie's home becomes even more chaotic.
Things just started happening around the house. Objects were being thrown, the kids' toys thrown around, heard noises.
Finally, Jackie can take no more. She leaves Barry Conrad this frantic message.
I'm not staying here, Barry. I'm out of here. I gotta get out of here. I can't stay here.
Barry and his team rush to the scene. Jeff Wheatcraft and a photographer, Gary Bohm, spend several months investigating the mysterious sounds coming from the attic. It's a decision they will soon live to regret.
I feel a little queasy about going up there, but I guess I'll go up. If I got a partner, why? It's so bad.
I try and tell them, whatever it is, it doesn't want us here, it doesn't want you here, it doesn't want me here. Let's just get out of here.
Suddenly, they hear a strange noise coming from above.
There were 3 snapping sounds, and they were clear as bell. And they were in my left ear, and they went like this.
The men claim at that moment they were attacked.
What's wrong? What happened? I told you, get down, get down! This isn't a good idea. This isn't a good idea. We gotta get out of here.
Jeff, please get down. I gotta get out of here.
Whoa.
It's definitely raising hell. Jeff, please come here. Get this forward. Get the mic. Get the mic. Jeff, here you go. Here you go. What happened? Are you okay, buddy? God. Look at his neck. Jeff, what's behind your neck? I don't know. What's on my neck? A piece of rope. Gary, get down out of there.
At first I saw the look of terror on his face. It was just, he was just terrified. His glasses were gone. And then we saw something like a cord that was around his neck.
It ended up over my head like this, and then it was twisted like this. I don't know how far or to what degree, but I know it was twisted because it was tied around my neck. And then it was hung up over the nail on one of the cross members that go across the attic.
The flash of Gary's camera lights up the attic and captures what appears to be an assault.
Get a picture of his neck. Look at this.
Look at his neck. Oh my God.
There were rope burns in his neck. He was in shock. He didn't know what had happened to him. He remembers suddenly blacking out for an instant.
Yeah, Jeff, what happened? Put something around my neck. When I look back on the whole incident, I knew that it's possible I could have been close to death. There's no question about that.
According to eyewitnesses, Jackie makes one more startling discovery just before dawn. A mysterious red imprint appears on the forehead of a 4-month-old daughter.
Come on, you guys. Let's go. Please, let's go. Please, let's go. Please, what happened to her? Oh, my God.
I left that night. I never lived there again. I took my kids and left.
In the history of organized psychical research or paranormal research, which began in England in 1882, there have only been a handful of reported cases where the phenomena was directly and distinctly attacking people in the environment or the investigators. And then there is this San Pedro case.
Today, the house is quiet, so it's impossible to know what really happened here. Jackie and the kids got out, but her frightening memories will never end. 3,000 miles away in Ohio, another family believes they're not alone.
The family had been hearing noises at night. They would wake up in the morning and find things moved, overturned, broken dishes and glasses.
Searching for the cause, the father leaves a video camera rolling overnight. This is his amazing videotape. Watch as the glass moves across the table, apparently on its own.
And then we see a typewriter move, which is not plugged in.
Next, a chair slides away from the table, and the reclining chair mysteriously begins to rock back and forth.
Then we hear the front door of the house, left of the rocking chair, open and then close.
John Osborne offers his opinion of these disturbing images.
I've watched it countless times looking for any evidence of foul play, and I couldn't find it.
Across the country, a man renovating his house videotapes something that appears to be even more disturbing.
Contractors were complaining that they would come in the morning and their tools would be moved and there would be damage So he decided to set up a hidden camera to catch vandals.
But what the camera records is not the work of a vandal.
Well, the chair in this shot is pretty shocking, sliding across the floor. But the most shocking part of this particular piece of footage is the piece of sheetrock. It's actually being ripped from the wall and pulled up and away. If it were just falling, it would have fallen just straight down under the force of gravity. This, on the other hand, was pulled up and away. It's very astounding stuff.
No. Is it not? No. Right. This should be finished today. Head and he said, did you, sir?
But all that she would accept from the concerned hotel staff was a little whiskey.
She was truly sick, but any overture by the hotel to help her see a doctor, she rebuffed. From the day she arrived, she told everybody that her brother was a doctor, so she said, and that he would be joining her, and not to worry because it would all be taken care of when her brother got here. And every day she would go down to the front desk and say, have you heard from my brother? Is there any word at all? And there never was.
Finally, on a moonlit night, the lonely young woman found an end to her pain.
"5 days after she arrived here, she was found outside on the beach. She had a single gunshot wound to her head, which the coroner later determined was self-inflicted.
All she left behind was a mystery.
That's just where the story started. When they got to her room, there was nothing of a personal nature there. She didn't have luggage, she didn't have any papers. There was nothing to identify her except by the name she checked in under, which was Lottie Bernard, which was an alias.
Hi, Patrick.
The unknown guest became famous before anyone even knew her name.
For a long time, she was referred to just as the beautiful stranger because no one knew who she was. So they actually sketched a picture of her face. They sent it around to newspapers around the country, and eventually someone came forward identifying her as Kate Morgan from Iowa. She was buried here in San Diego rather unceremoniously, very sadly, just this lone 24-year-old suicide victim.
Kate left the world a lonely soul, but many feel she has never left the Hotel del Coronado. Hotel del Coronado, room 3327, where a young woman, Kate Morgan, spent her last days on Earth. Guests Jennifer and Richard Rodriguez were unaware of the room's past when they arrived.
We checked in, went to our hotel room, and kind of settled in.
There was a ceiling fan that came down from the ceiling, and it had tassels that you would pull to turn the light on or off. And out of the corner of my eye, I could see that the tassels started moving in a circular motion, so I thought it was kind of odd.
But it wasn't until after the lights went out that her husband experienced something that defied all reason.
Probably about 2:30 in the morning, I felt somewhat of a tug on my blankets, and at the foot of the bed was a human being pulling the blankets over their head. And I closed my eyes, and when I opened my eyes back up again, it was gone. Then I heard a voice calling my name, just asking me to come over to the people. Look outside. Oh, Richard, come to the people. Come to the people, Richard. I stayed up for the rest of the night.
I woke up in the morning, and he was sitting up, just staring ahead, and he said, "Did you see that last night?" The bell gentleman came up. The first thing he said to us when he walked in the room was, "How was it to sleep in the haunted room?"
Strange things have been said to happen in Kate's room, even in broad daylight.
I would not want to stay in that room because I have talked to enough people that I believe that things do go on there, and I really wouldn't enjoy experiencing any of them.
Inexplicable experiences at the Hotel Del aren't confined to Kate Morgan's room.
In another room, there's been a lot of what can be characterized as poltergeist activity. Things move of their own accord, lights turn on and off, things fly across the room. That's not really activity that we can sort of characterize as being related to anyone in particular, but it goes on there nonetheless.
The room has been known to cause alarm even at the highest levels.
When George Bush was vice president, he was visiting here and had a lot of Secret Service here. One of his Secret Service men was staying in the room where there's been a lot of poltergeist activity going on.
Late at night, the Secret Service agent was disturbed by the sound of strange noises coming from the room above.
So he called down to the front desk and he said, "Can you let the people upstairs know that I'm getting bothered by all this noise, and could they tone it down a bit?" And so our front desk person had to tell the Secret Service person that he was
Patrick?
on the top floor. There was no room above him.
But according to some, all the rooms at the Hotel Del are haunted.
When I walked in the Hotel Del Coronado, I immediately felt like I was on the Titanic, and I felt energies of people from probably 100 years or 80 years or whatever that were kind of free floating through the actual rooms.
is true.
We have the one cat who stops that's allowed in the house, and she's looking towards the hall, and her eyes and body will turn as though she's following someone walking, and then in a few moments she will look back around as though she's following someone back to the hall. So I suspect that someone has come in to check on us and found everything to be okay and decided to return to wherever their place in this home is.
In addition
interested in people's dilemmas and problems.
Perhaps he's trying to continue his calling in the afterlife.
It seems like people get trapped in some state of limbo. For some reason, the minister feels like he has to still stay here and take care of his congregation.
No one knows the minister's history, but he may have had a tragic ending of his own.
It's possible that he died before his time. It could be that he doesn't know he's dead. He is continuing his work, planning to just remain behind for just a while longer, not knowing that it's been many decades.
Can it be that using the old church for secular purposes has stirred up its spirits?
Keeping in mind this was a church for 70 years, really wasn't set up to be a place to live in or sleep in. So I think some of these experiences probably have happened because we've changed the use of the building. It's no longer a house of prayer.
Although no longer a place of worship, some feel the Victorian Rose still fulfills a spiritual need.
I know a lot of people have become believers once they leave here, that there's something else in the world other than a human aspect.
Whether they reveal their presence through music or mischief, hotel ghosts all seem to ignore the dimension of time.
When a person tunes in, on the other side, it's 80 years, 2,000 years, 60 years. It doesn't matter. If something horrific happened or something unknown stayed in that specific room, you feel that.
I think that some ghosts are linked to the fabric of time. I believe that there's, you might say, holes or warps in time. And occasionally, just rarely, we can see into the past.
For many, a hotel room is meant to be a respite from the stress of travel, a place to relax and unwind. But in a haunted hotel, these cozy rooms transport unsuspecting guests to mysterious worlds where the dead walk again.
You don't know what's underneath here, and they must still be wanting to come out.
This is the most haunted hotel in Edinburgh.
In Scotland, hundreds of plague victims long since dead rise again into the halls of the hotel. A monk who lived and died hundreds of years ago blesses overnight guests in this Irish castle.
When that happens, it just drains your body. Particularly for me, I know my legs just like almost go like jelly.
A frantic husband still roams the site of a horrible accident, desperate for help that would come too late.
He loved her so much. Its spirit kept going and kept running, help, help, please help her, please help her.
And in Arizona, a jilted bride still haunts the hotel where her love and life ended.
It was like we were surrounded by the sound.
It's a world where phantoms haunt the night and tragic tales of the past come alive. When the lights go out. Kilometers north of San Francisco, perched between the Noyo River and the rugged coast of the Pacific Ocean, the lodge at Noyo River is a romantic getaway for couples touring Northern California's coast.
They can get away from the pressures of the world. It's a beautiful view of the harbor or the fishing village. The house itself is 135 years old. It's a very unique place.
Year after year, guests return for the secluded rooms, breathtaking scenery, and gourmet breakfasts served with a view of the harbor.
Anan.
But some say it's the voices from beyond that make a stay at the lodge at Noyo truly unforgettable.
You hear a voice of a woman. You're not sure what she's saying, but you know you're not talking to yourself.
Built in 1868, the lodge is a two-story, five-bedroom inn.
As you go up the stairs into the 5 bedrooms upstairs, all done in old-growth redwood, built by shipwrights. It looks like an ark with the wood paneling.
The hotel was a private home until the 1940s, when the doors were opened to the first lucky hotel guests. According to legend, 2 of those guests never checked out. 60 years ago, on a beautiful summer morning, a young couple in a cherry red convertible checked into room number 5.
In the late 1940s, early 1950s, a young couple came to the lodge at Noyo River for their honeymoon. Her dressed in a red dress and he in khaki clothing.
They were so very, very much in love, and she was so vibrant and had flowing hair and just a beautiful woman.
After exploring the lodge, the couple set out along the main motorway to watch the sunset.
They were laughing and having such a good time.
Night fell, and the couple began the drive back to the lodge. The words, "Till death us do part," still fresh on their lips.
There was a rock, and the car went up on the rock and fell over to the side. He died almost instantly, but her breath kept coming. Without recognizing yet that he had passed away, he ran up to the lodge asking for help. He loved her so much. Its spirit kept going and kept running, "Help, help, please help her, please help her."
Upon hearing his cries, hotel staff ran to help. There, they found the bodies of the couple, still inside the car. When they discovered the man dead at the scene, the rescuers faced the chilling realization that the cries they had heard had come from a ghost. Years have passed since a young couple's life was cut short in an auto accident just outside California's lodge at Noyo River. But staff and guests there believe the newlyweds never left, and that their ghosts remain at the lodge, searching for each other, waiting to begin their ill-fated honeymoon. According to eyewitness reports, the tragic scene plays out over and over again. A young man outside the front doors, yelling for help, desperate to save his dying wife. And as her husband searches for help outside, staff say her spirit waits for him inside the lodge.
You hear footsteps sometimes in the middle of the day or at night. Periodically you hear voices. The radio goes on and goes off, goes on and goes off. You go home at night, the lights are off. You come in, the light is on. been in the house.
Many believe the lady is waiting to be reunited with her love. But in the meantime, she won't be ignored.
We have feather comforters on all our beds, and you'll do a room, and you'll have the comforter just right. You'll leave the room, go back for an inspection, and find where someone has lain on the bed, and that has occurred in a couple of our upstairs rooms.
Guests at the lodge are encouraged to record their own experiences, and their tales fill dozens of pages in the lodge's diaries.
I thought I heard a knock on the door, and upon opening it, no one was there. There was a ghost hanging around rooms 4 and 5.
We were paid a visit by the ghost in room 4.
My husband and I came to this room from number 5. We could not sleep in there.
The entries all reveal a similar pattern. In life, the lady in red spent happy moments in room 5. But in death, she wanders, a lonely soul, ever ready to start her life as a newlywed, now doomed forever to watch others in the first flush of marital bliss.
In my early years, I would do the relief and would have to stay on property all night. And I've stayed in room 1, and I've stayed in room 4, never in room 5.
Separated in death, the couple spends eternity hoping to be reunited. Staff and guests alike hope that day will come, so the night can once more echo with the peaceful sounds of crashing waves, instead of the footsteps of wandering spirits.
It's ready.
A world away in Scotland's capital city of Edinburgh, bagpipes fill the air and tourists wander the streets. This regal city is home to the Scottish Parliament and the Queen's Scottish residence. But it's most famous for the area called the Royal Mile, so named because the city of Edinburgh was once only a mile long. The modern-day Royal Mile is what's left of the original city. Today, Edinburgh has grown into a modern city, home to nearly 500,000 people. But the original Royal Mile seems untouched by the passing of time.
There's very few modern buildings actually in the Royal Mile due to the local authority planning. You have to fit in with the area that you're actually in. So even the newer buildings look quite old.
New or old, it's not the buildings themselves, but what lies beneath Edinburgh that reveals the city's true past.
Bearing in mind the area that we're in, with the plagues and the deaths and what have you, you don't know what's underneath here. And they must still be wanting to come out.
Oddly enough, it's one of the mile's newest buildings, the Crowne Plaza Hotel, that attracts some of its oldest residents.
This is the most haunted hotel in Edinburgh. And I reckon you could go up to most people in Edinburgh. They'll say, oh, it's haunted, that place.
The Crowne Plaza Hotel is only 14 years old, but guests report encounters with ghostly figures who lived more than 300 years ago.
It's like anything in Edinburgh, you don't know what's underneath you.
What lies beneath is layer upon layer of Edinburgh's past. For centuries, the threat of invasion kept citizens confined within the Royal Mile, the small area of land protected by the city walls. But with so little space, early city dwellers were literally forced to live on top of one another. Buildings up to 14 stories high lined the mile, and many of the floors began below the ground. Closes led people off the mile, deep into the confines of their cramped homes. Today, tourists can venture down into the city's most famous and haunted close. Located just across from the Crowne Plaza Hotel, this is where Edinburgh's tragic history unfolds.
Now, today I'm going to take you with me down these stairs, and we're going to go back over 400 years to my time, where we shall then walk through 250 years of history as we visit the lives of the people who lived down in Mary King's Close.
The cobblestones of the Royal Mile sit on top of the labyrinth of concealed streets, where people lived, worked, and where in 1645 over 1/3 of the population died when the bubonic plague ravaged the town.
I suppose the main thing to say about the life of a family that had been affected by the plague was that it would be short.
Cramped living conditions and lack of plumbing caused raw sewage to fill the streets. It created an environment ideal for rats and the plague-ridden fleas that they carried.
And people packed in together in these times. Poor times. But the plague had a big effect on Edinburgh. And many died. Young people, old people. The plague doesn't have any favours that way.
The plague affected everyone, but of all the tragic tales of lives cut short, one still resonates strongly here. The story of a poor basket weaver and his family, who once lived near the hotel grounds. Even before the plague, life was hard within the city walls. The basket weaver struggled to make a life for himself and his young daughter. But the struggle would soon become even more dire. Like thousands of others in Edinburgh, his daughter became infected with the horrific plague. The city was put under quarantine, and families confined in the closes were forced to watch their loved ones suffer through fever, delirium and black boils before their inevitable, painful death.
The occupants were effectively forced to remain within the close or their homes. They were given supplies of food, and the authorities did what they could for the poor people.
Apart from providing food, the municipality could do nothing to stop the plague's deadly reach. And it wasn't long before this highly infectious disease struck each member of a quarantine family.
Whoever had contracted it was quite likely to even still be carrying one or two of the fleas which could easily spread the infection. And so there was a great danger for anyone who had one victim in their family.
As the basket weaver held his dying daughter in his arms, he knew it was only a matter of time before he would begin to show signs of the disease himself. The basket weaver and his daughter became just two in the thousands cut down by the deadly disease. In just 1 year, the plague reduced the once bustling streets of Edinburgh to a ghost town. And almost 400 years later, it's believed the ghosts roam them still.
I never used to believe in things that go bump in the night and ghosts and ghouls, but certain things happen and you have no choice but to believe sometimes that there is something else that may well be it.
And while Edinburgh's modern Crowne Plaza Hotel may not look haunted, staff say just below the city streets, the legacy of the plague still lingers. And its victims have made their way into the halls of the hotel.
There was one evening I was doing my rounds, and it was just before 3 o'clock, And what happened that night was really something I can't explain. I got into the elevator and I came to the first floor.
Crouched in a doorway, he saw a young girl.
Just looking like that. Very motionless. And I thought, well, I don't know if that's an intruder. And as I got to the windows, she ran at a heck of a speed towards the elevator. And I ran fast. And it was only seconds. When I got to the elevator, there was no one there. I looked at the numbers on the elevator. Nobody was in. Well, 3 elevators, none of them were in use.
She vanished from sight, but something lingered.
And that was when I did feel a temperature change. It was almost like a draft. It was cold, and it did pass me. And I thought, that's strange. In fact, it did put hairs on the back of my neck on that occasion.
Perhaps this mysterious presence was just one of the thousands of plague victims whose lives were taken so violently. And perhaps he's not haunting alone.
We're in here quite a lot, mainly at the weekends, because that's the big wedding days are Fridays and Saturdays. And it can be, I don't like being on my own at the end. You prefer to have maybe 2 years tidying up, because this is one of the areas where we do believe that things do go happen, that can happen, will happen.
The room is called the Great Scottish Hall. Decorated for a wedding, it's a romantic setting. But venture in late at night, and who knows what you'll find.
I went to check the locks, and there was a double door system. So you've got about 4 feet of walking distance before you hit another door. And as I got to the first door, the noise I could hear with the wind, it was just really, really loud.
The wind grew louder and louder.
And I stopped for a minute. I thought, God, what the heck's that? I opened the door, and there was no wind. It was like being on a ship in a storm, you know?
Many describe this storm as the desperate souls of quarantine plague victims finally breaking free. And staff say these spirits are free to roam the halls of the hotel.
I've tried to give you a good, honest account of what it's like working in a haunted hotel, and it's haunted.
The spirits in Edinburgh may be trying to break free, but 8,000 kilometers away in New Orleans, it seems the ghosts are happy to stay right where they are. Known for its jazz clubs and annual Mardi Gras celebration, New Orleans Bourbon Street is a never-ending party. But those looking for a slower pace need only hop on a streetcar and take a 10-minute trip to the lush, tranquil Garden District.
It's known for its incredible tree-lined streets, its wonderful mansions, and the people who live here are the power base of New Orleans, if you will.
Tucked amongst the private homes of the city's elite sits the 1891 Castle Inn. The 3-story bed and breakfast is an old-world mansion open to modern-day guests.
My whole goal was to create a home in one of these mansions that are normally off limits to everybody, and to invite people in.
But along with modern-day guests, it seems this Garden District mansion may also have invited some guests from beyond.
Basically, they checked in to room number 4 they were there, the wife felt a presence on her side of the bed next to the fireplace.
I went to Columbia Law School. If anybody watches this who I went to law school, I did not believe in ghosts. I cannot deny it anymore.
What presence haunts these walls? And what does it want with the guests of the 1891 Castle Inn? Do the spirits of the dead roam the streets and halls of New Orleans' most famous spots? Some people have their doubts, but after a night at the 1891 Castle Inn, it seems even the most skeptical guests start to believe in ghosts.
We have 5 guest books just completely filled with experiences. I can't even keep up with them anymore.
And there's one spirit whose name appears page after page in the hotel's journals. His name is Henry.
We have one ghost who we believe was a paid servant, and guests have actually seen him.
Henry was a former slave who worked at the plantation house that once sat on hotel property. Following the abolition of slavery in America, he chose to remain as a paid servant.
It would be almost expected of him to speak several languages, to interact with the guests and make them as comfortable as possible. We know for a fact the gentleman was quite the ladies' man. He enjoyed drink, he enjoyed music, he enjoyed his fine cigars.
But one night, after an evening of entertaining, Henry passed out in his room with a lit cigar. The fire that broke out consumed him. Today, many New Orleans ghost tours stop at the 1891 Castle Inn, where tourists read the hotel's ghostly journals and discover that Henry may never have left.
Basically, they checked in to room number 4, the Jazz Emporium, and the first night they were there, the wife felt a presence on her side of the bed next to the fireplace.
Perhaps Henry's desire to be near beautiful women has carried over into the afterlife. There are times when you don't know he's there, but other times it's said he leaves a clue behind.
We've had people report that they found cigar ashes in their bed. Not a very attractive thing to think about, but it happens. What can I say?
And sometimes he gets too close for comfort. Staff believe that because Henry died so soon after abolition, his ghost will never leave the site of his former home. He had so little time to enjoy his newfound freedom in life that even in death, his spirit walks the halls of the 1891 Castle Inn, ready to entertain at a moment's notice. But some say Henry doesn't haunt alone, and hotel guests aren't quite certain how they feel about sharing their rooms with a house full of ghosts.
Like keys will move or something like that. That's still. I mean, if something's standing at the end of the bed and jumping into the bed, I'd be running. I'd be out of the place.
The hotel's other spirit hasn't jumped into anyone's bed, but her lonely cries pierce the walls of the hotel and the dreams of those sleeping within.
This is the Bordello room. We call it the most sinfully romantic of the rooms, our most requested, and of course the most haunted. This is where a lot of women dream about a little girl
plantation that was once here.
Our little girl ghost tragically drowned in the pond that was located where an old plantation house used to be right up the street here.
100 years have passed, and each day guests enjoy the slow-paced afternoons in this southern mansion, unaware that its walls were once home to a young girl who seems to be eternally searching for a mother to call her own.
She approaches women who stay here, guests, and she approaches them by trying to make contact in the best way she can.
Staff say, with each guest who leaves, she waits for the next, forever hoping her own mother will finally return.
They'll look back up and for a split second see the outline or the image of the little girl looking for a window.
You have someone that's completely innocent, that never had a chance to become an adult, and it makes it more tragic, and it affects people on a very deep level.
A missing mother. And a newfound life of freedom cut cruelly short. It seems that these two lost souls, taken before their time, are destined to roam the halls of their former home, hoping to find in death what they missed in life. But the ghosts of the 1891 Castle Inn aren't the only spirits with unfinished business to attend to. Long before winding roads meandered through the Irish countryside, and before tourists from around the world came to admire its picturesque beauty, the land of Ireland was a sacred place. And in the heart of this country, a castle-turned-hotel sits on the site of this spiritual history. It's a history that dates back to Celtic times.
It was always regarded as a site where the Druids had festivals in the ancient, before the time of Christianity.
In the 7th century, monks replaced the Druids, who were the ancient Celtic priests, changing the appearance but not the spirit of the land.
They found in the monasteries, in the locations where the Druids performed rituals, as a means of converting the people to Christianity a bit easier, you know. And then when the British came in, the noblemen started to build castles where the monks built the monasteries, so it's a progression.
Today, the sacred ground is now home to the proud Kinnetty Castle, and guests who stay here feel the power of the land.
I think when you come in the front door, you just know yourself what Kinnetty has that other places haven't got. It's just got that atmosphere, you know, it's just got that little bit extra.
That little bit extra can be found in the fine Irish linens, the award-winning cuisine, or maybe even in the counsel of a 1,500-year-old monk. Located in almost the exact geographic centre of Ireland, the castle is approximately 1.5 hours' drive from Dublin, but it feels centuries apart.
Well, that's it. I mean, we have a sign out in the front saying, you know, greeting guests since 1209. So it is a place where you can feel all the generations and you can feel the history.
We came from Pennsylvania, and this is our 4th time here, and the reason we come here is because we love the castle, and this is the best place that we consider in Ireland.
Bordered by forests on 3 sides and a long sports lawn on the 4th, Kinnity Castle allows tourists a chance to live the Irish gentleman's life. And they even have a restaurant bar called the Monk's Kitchen, dedicated to their resident ghost.
We have our own beer as well.
Oh,
which is called the Monk's Brew.
Hello.
We also have our own whiskey, which is
Hiya, mate.
Ishka, which is the Irish word for water. So basically, it's a
What's that?
big tribute to the monk.
84% he got to. That's still good from 65.
This 37-bed
Hey?
hotel.
Considering it's cloudy. In a cloudy day.
Perfect spot for the ultimate
What was that?
Irish fairy tale wedding.
17% charge on it. That's all right.
Weddings
It's
at
quite
Kinnity
good, isn't it?
are held on castle grounds inside the restored ruins of an old abbey that once thrived here.
But this wall certainly is the wall of the
So tomorrow if I put it on again it'll be 100%.
the actual inward spire of the church.
Yeah.
Church.
But no matter the size of a couple's
Ooh,
guest list,
bugger.
staff know
Ooh,
to
you
have
bugger.
extra place setting, just in case.
Oh, excuse me. What appearance?
Pressure is believed to be a monk who lived and worked in the
Sorted.
thriving Augustine Abbey that once stood on this site.
Their whole job was to write manuscripts and rewrite the Bible, or write the Bible, or passages from
A
the
bit
Bible.
nifty out there. Haunted hotels. Ooh.
Used to take them.
Hey?
There used to be on
The monks stayed in
Discovery Civilization
until a
or
named Margaret arrived, and the monk decided the staff needed help with catering.
yeah, but Discovery or another one. I think it was Bravo.
When I came here first and was doing the weddings, there was things being missing.
Something like that, but yeah, I used to take them when they were on.
To stop. And the following week he appeared.
Record them.
And it's been coming ever since.
And according to the staff, for the first time in over 15 centuries,
That means I've got to
the
put
monk
water in the
speaks,
top.
breaking an age-old vow of silence.
He speaks in riddles. He speaks in English, Latin. I really don't know. He speaks in English in bits and you have to put them together. Because it is like a riddle.
It seems the monk has chosen Margaret to deliver his messages from beyond.
And the messages have all come to pass. Everything he has said will all happen.
Guests of the hotel have reported footsteps that followed them from the abbey and into the adjoining castle. And when they turn around, a mysterious shadow disappears before their eyes.
Several guests have seen him. They've seen him what they call it's like a shadow. And that's what they've seen. But I see him with you.
Sometimes you would feel like, you'd be walking along and you'd feel like as if something has just passed right through you and passed back again. When that happens, it just drains your body. Particularly for me, I know my legs just almost go like jelly. I think there was another day I was going through the banquet hall, lost the power of my legs more or less, so I just literally fell down. He doesn't mean any harm by what he does. I just don't think he realises the power of his presence. Certainly know what he's about.
Mary feels him. Margaret speaks with him. But they're not the only ones who've had run-ins with Kinnity's oldest resident. The monk also reaches out to the castle's current owner.
And all of a sudden you just saw him pass really slowly in front of the screen.
And the castle's current heir.
He was wearing this funny gown as well. And after that I ran out thinking that that was the same guy that my father
thus ensuring that the building and the land remain well cared for generations to come.
He has a function here anyway, and it's to protect us.
What he said was he belongs. And also he likes when they were here, seemed he was very happy.
But while some ghosts aim to protect the inhabitants of their former residence, others have unfinished business to attend to. Arizona's landscapes have long been attracting tourists from around the world. But it's the draw of the Roaring Twenties that brings them to Prescott, a quaint mountain town untouched by the hands of time. Known as the Grand Dame of northern Arizona, the Hassayampa Inn sits overlooking the town square, just as it has for the past 7 decades.
When I moved here, I said Norman Rockwell's world. I mean, that's exactly what it is to me. It's things happening on the square, ice cream socials, just the old feeling of living in a real small rural town back in the 50s.
But Prescott hasn't always been a picture of the idyllic American small town. It was once a railroad stop on the frontier, complete with gunslingers and a string of brothels that lined Whiskey Row. It was a place where a man could, and often did, vanish without a trace. And where a jilted bride is rumored to roam the halls and terrify the guests as she waits for her long-dead husband's return. In the 1920s, the rise of the automobile brought a new surge of tourism to Prescott, Arizona, those seeking to escape the scorching heat of nearby Phoenix.
The Hassayampa was built as a tourist attraction. In the 20s, everybody owned a mobile. And so a lot of people would come from Phoenix, much cooler up here. And so they built the Grand Hotel.
Named after the underground river to the west of town, the 67-room, 4-story Hassayampa Inn has always been a popular spot for honeymooners of all ages. But for one blushing bride who checked into the hotel in 1928, the romance would end in tragedy. Not much is known about this mystery woman. Only that her name was Faith. By all accounts, the time Faith spent honeymooning at the Hassayampa Inn was the happiest of her life.
The story that I've heard is that she was deserted by her husband. They were here at the hotel, and they were staying in the balcony suite, room 426, in the Hassayampa Inn, and he left and never returned.
What happened to Faith's husband? Did he simply desert her? Or did he meet a more unsavory end? No one knows for sure, but his mysterious disappearance has never been solved. Hour after hour, Faith waited anxiously for her husband's return, agonizing over his fate. With nowhere else to turn, she remained in her room for 3 days and nights.
She was broken-hearted, had no money, couldn't have been on a train to go somewhere. He was probably too proud to go ask.
Without her husband, Faith lost her will to live. In a final act of desperation, she hung herself from her window, overlooking the town square. Faith was buried and her story long forgotten. But over 60 years later, some say she has returned to the Hassayampa Inn to share her suffering with the guests and staff here.
Things that are seen happen around the room 426, especially in that hallway. It's like a dead-end hallway at one end. It's dark down there. And that's where they see her, in that vicinity of that room.
Alright, that'll do. That'll do it.
And on
Tomorrow now. Yeah, it's nearly finished. Nearly finished. Right, I'm gonna call it now, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you guys later for the main live. Lots of love to you all. Take care now, everybody.